Hello and welcome to the Imperfect Beauty Podcast, where we celebrate real conversations, unfiltered stories, and the beautiful messiness of just being human. I'm your host, Michelle Furey, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, I'm joined by the incredibly talented Kirsten Lyons, a cosmetic brow specialist. We're going to talk about our quirky clients and all things permanent makeup. Kirsten shares a refreshing outlook on our industry and what has led to her continued success. So let's get into it. Kirsten, you're very welcome to the Imperfect Beauty Podcast. How are
Hi,
you?
thank you for having me. I'm really good, thanks.
I'm all excited about talking to you today, like super excited about it. So we're going to talk about why you're in your part of the industry, what made you go into it, and we're going to talk about the ups and downs of especially cosmetic tattooing. So we're going to find out who you are first.
Okay.
So tell me about Kirsten.
So I'm 36 years old. I trained in permanent makeup I feel like I've been saying 10 years for a few years. So probably like 11, 12 or 13 years actually.
12 years, oh, you're doing
a few
it.
years. I trained in permanent makeup. I started with beauty. My background's kind of always been beauty. I've always been into like hair, makeup. I've had a few beauty jobs here and there.
What was your worst job?
Oh, hairdressing.
Really? Why?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, just being a junior, it was just awful. Like I was a junior in a salon in Belfast, and the girl who owned the salon would have come over and just be like, wash my hair. And you were like, okay. And your hands, you would have went home, your hands were raw. So yeah, that wasn't great. I only lasted like 6 months at that.
That's all right, something to be ashamed of.
So then I ventured in and I had jobs here and there. Never knew what I wanted to do. Kind of knew I was always into like the more beauty kind of side of things. I ventured on to permanent makeup. I actually got my eyebrows tattooed and I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do. So I feel like I've missed out
You haven't.
I feel like I've missed out the whole like training in beauty part.
You don't need to. I think in our industry, it's a training, or we constantly train. Everything's always a new technique and always a new trend that comes out and we have to keep going back in. But we do something different in our industry.
Yeah.
Like combined. We look after people that are on the fringe of
And you want to help people,
don't we? So
yeah.
Let's talk about that. So you went into cosmetic tattooing.
Yeah.
Tell me about what aspects of your company that you have now and what you're doing with that side of it. So I know not only is it the vanity side for you, but what side really works?
It's quite rewarding because I would work with a lot of clients who are maybe about to undergo on the chemotherapy or who have alopecia. So it's not like, obviously there's women who get it done for vanity and like they want to look good and they want to wake up with their makeup on. But it means more than that to other people. It's more like, they need their eyebrows. It's what makes you feel womanly. They lose their lashes, they lose their hair, they lose their brows. It when you tattoo it back on, it makes them feel a lot more human and a lot more womanly almost. It takes away, like cancer especially, will take away your whole identity nearly.
It would, yeah.
But it can take everything, but it won't take your eyebrows because I can tattoo them back on.
Well, let's be honest about it. There's a lot that you can do apart from the eyebrows. So I've seen a lot of people getting all sorts of cosmetic work done. So we're not just talking about tattooing. I've seen cosmetic tattoo artists like yourself. Some people do nipples as well for women who have breast cancer.
Yeah.
I've seen people who are in transitioning especially. They like male to female and female to male.
Yeah.
So you do a huge amount of work on that aspect.
Yeah.
Tell me the most rewarding part of your job.
Alongside the chemotherapy and alopecia, obviously it means more to those people. But I would work with a few transgender clients who were assigned male at birth and are now female.
Yes.
It makes them kind of feel more, I feel like
they identify
the ones
better.
It kind of makes them feel better. They don't have to put as much makeup on almost to feel more womanly.
Yeah.
So when you tattoo it on, it's a bit more subtle and natural, and then they don't feel as, as bare without it.
Yeah.
So I do have a few transgender clients. One in particular, Anna, she's just brilliant. But I did her brows not that long ago. Oh my God, I'm rambling.
You're not? You're not. You're allowed ramble. The whole point of this is to have a conversation. So come here, I will give you a funny story. So in my offices, we have an awful lot of transgender individuals that come in. And I have to say, some of them have the most harrowing stories, like horrendous. And then we have people that come in and they're absolutely, they are in a safe place. They have a huge support group. And then we have everyone in between.
Yeah.
that way. So they
Yeah.
are lost in their own selves, nobody to turn to in the whole lot. And that's what happens with us then with my company, Asetica.
That's where we come in, yeah.
Yeah, we always do.
Yeah.
Everyone across the board. So last year I had gotten an email from a fantastic chap who was female to male. And what had happened is that they had gone to a number of different places, like what we own in our industry, and were turned away. So they were told, like, you need a specialist, you need to go in to have something done in a surgery. What we do is we take somebody and look outside of the box to make them fit into the box that suits them.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult for us to take somebody to come into us and say, we're able to do this. But what's happened is over the last while, I'm finding people like yourself who are driven, have a bit of crack about them, can make the fun side of something outside of something that's kind of scary for somebody else, and supportive.
Yeah.
And be really creative with it.
And just treat them like a normal person.
And you've won awards for it.
Yeah.
So the sad thing about it is in the industry that we're in, they don't talk about the good side of what we do.
Yeah.
They talk about, you always see, like, you go into certain places and got a bad eyebrow job, but they don't see all you do for cancer patients.
Yeah.
You don't see what you do for like anybody.
That's a part of my job I don't really post about, because obviously those clients don't really want their photos up on Facebook. So that's a bit I kind of keep a wee bit private, and then obviously I don't charge them, so they get it done for free.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, that part of it, when I kind of tell, they don't know they're getting it for free. They go to pay me, and I'm like, no, it's all me, don't worry. And then it's kind of, I kind of try and not make it an emotional kind of, because then they start crying.
But it
and they
will
think, oh my god. But that in itself is the most. It's the reason I do what I do, because it's so rewarding that you don't realize how much eyebrows mean to somebody until they lose them.
I find, though, when you come into the aesthetic industry, just in general, right, there is a taboo. We've got girls that are in doing it, and they're doing it for the glamour and the vanity of it. Now, I don't mean having the treatments done, I mean doing the treatments themselves. And you've just said something really important there, and I think it needs to be touched on, especially with mainstream media, and not just like podcasts, especially. You don't want to post about it because you don't want to make a big deal about it. And we also understand the privacy aspect of it. But like, you win awards for stuff like this, but it doesn't get talked about in mainstream media ever. Nobody wants to talk about somebody who's the bad side of cancer.
The depressing side of it.
Yeah, they don't. But it's the small celebrations that you make. So I love when someone comes into me and they're going, say, from male to female, and we feminize their face.
Yeah.
And it's the joy at actually looking in the mirror at their own true self.
Yeah.
For you, that must be really rewarding. And you can't really celebrate yourself because you don't want to. You don't want to.
I don't want to embarrass people nearly. And some of those clients are a bit more, like on my consultation form I have, like, are you okay with social media pictures before and afters? And someone will be like, no. And I'm like, okay. So
in your industry, and there's plenty of mine, is there something that you've seen that's come in that fecked up the whole idea of what you were doing and made you laugh about it? You came home from work and went, Jesus Christ, I think I need another job.
Yeah, all the time.
Like
nearly
what?
Once a week. Once a week. Like, not everything. I think everything you see online everything looks so straightforward. Everything's so perfect. And you're only going to post the good things, you're only going to post your perfect pictures. My camera roll is like photos that I will tear myself apart. I'll be like, and then sometimes I look back at them, I'm like, oh my God, they're good. Why didn't I post those? But it's your imposter syndrome. You don't, you pull yourself apart and you'll be like, nah, that's not good enough. No, don't like that bit. I would have changed that part, but yeah, it's.
Any funny clients that came in that was like totally lasting with you, like absolutely out there wild?
Loads.
Go for it. Tell me. Enlighten me. I'd ask you this with a drink in me. Go for it.
Oh God. I had a client one time. So my client Michelle, so she came in and she's a laugh. She's just hilarious. She's called Michelle as well. So she came in and I chatting away. I tidied her brows. She was in for a brow tattoo. So I tidied her brows. We mapped them all out. And I obviously showed the mirror and be like, how's that shape for you? She was like, they're amazing, thanks so much. Jumped off the bed. And I was like, what? I was like, I haven't started yet. And she was like, oh my God, I thought that was it. I was like,
oh God, love her.
I was like, if I could do brows that quick, I'd be worth a fortune.
Everyone would be. Everyone would be. I've seen some people that's using cosmetic tattooing in the weirdest form possible.
Yeah. I do get asked to do like the most ridiculous things. Like, I'm like, just go and pay someone 50 quid to do that.
Yeah. And you clearly like your job because you won loads of awards.
Yeah.
Tell me about the awards that you won.
So I won, last year I won the Bravery Artist of the Year for my region.
Well done.
Yeah, I've been nominated for another one this year in April, I think. So it's in the Armagh City Hotel, and
Are you excited about winning this award
if I win it.
when you win it?
I think the permanent makeup industry, it's quite a lonely industry almost, because we almost nearly work alone. We've no one to really bounce off. Like, I have a few friends in the industry as well, but I feel like they kind of do their own thing. We're all working separate clinics. Like, there's no one to really bounce off. I find, like, I worked in Australia for a year, and there was a lot of artists worked in a salon, and we kind of all bounced off each other. We were all doing the exact same thing. You can go to someone and ask for help,
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like there is none of that, like, in Belfast anyway.
It's a lot closed down.
Yeah. As much as there's so many girls training in it now, it like, you think the industry's really saturated. It's really not. There's faces. There's enough faces to tattoo.
Well, we talk about the lonely side of the industry.
Yeah.
Right? I feel like that all the time as well. And you're talking
Yeah.
about like imposter syndrome and doing what you do because you know
Yeah.
how to do it best.
Yeah.
And you're like a perfectionist when you
Yeah.
finish something, or you could have done it better, or
Yeah.
you pick yourself
Not
apart.
not
don't you?
every person, not everything goes to plan.
Yes.
Like, you'll get a client with perfect skin, everything will go to plan. You'll be like, oh my God, amazing. They'll heal perfect. Not every client is like that. And that is a lot to do with social media. Like, the pictures you see online is not real life. They're highly edited. They're not real. Like, they're filtered. They don't have pores. Like, nearly every day I get a message on my social media from people who retouch people's pictures. Like, hey, would you want me to retouch? So there's artists that pay people to retouch their pictures. So it's all fake, and they're retouching the actual work. Like, I'm all for a bit of like tweaking of your photo. Like, so if my client had a spot, like, I'm gonna blur that out.
Yeah, that's right. I would as well.
Or if their makeup or something isn't right, like, I'm gonna blur that out too.
Yeah.
But you don't actually touch your work, because that's when it's.
I find out when it comes to the photographing, especially, you've got like the unrealistic expectation
Yeah.
of people that come in. So,
Yeah.
for example, I know a girl who recently had surgery, gastric sleeve surgery, and she had her eyebrows and eyeliner tattooed. Now, her face were very prominent, and it was, there was weight in her face. And when all the weight came off, the eyeliner had gone completely
God,
up.
yeah.
Whatever way it settled, it had drooped and had gone in a different way. And now she's in the middle of getting a lot of tattoo removal for it.
Yeah.
So I've seen really out there work that's having to be corrected as well. Like, so what would you say to somebody that went into it and had something like that done? What would be?
So it would have to be laser off first, but yeah, less is more. You can always add on.
Yeah.
You can't really take away unless you laser it. But I find, people who had permanent makeup years ago, it was more heavy. Like, even when I trained like 12, 13 years ago, it was really, everyone was into really black, like dark, like as dark as you could get them nearly. Whereas now that work, like, we're lasering them off. So, like, when I trained, obviously you do, like, your friends and family are the first people you work
do
on.
as your models.
They're like straight on the stage, like, do mine. Sorry, mom. So I look at them. I have to live with those eyebrows every day.
Yeah.
So we've all tattooed shit on people's faces. But yeah, it's came a long way. It's a lot more subtle and natural, and the pigments have improved. The methods have improved. The needles have improved. Everything has improved from my training, even like 12, 13 years ago.
We'll talk about the cancer patients. Okay, so they've diagnosed, they're currently going through any sort of like treatments that they're doing, and they're coming in. What part of their treatment before they can come in and actually have it done are they allowed? Because I know there's an awful lot of contraindications.
I would say before they start chemo. Once they've started it, their immune system's too compromised. Before they start chemo, it's fine. Now I've had clients who obviously find out last minute that they have cancer and they have to start chemo or whatever straight away. I would like stay, I try my best to fit them in like
as soon as
possible.
Sounds
Obviously,
really
I kind of
hard.
work like appointment based. Obviously, it's usually like 2 months in advance that I'm kind of booked up for. So I'll kind of work a late night.
You better not be waiting 2 months for me to get in for it. I tell you, sending someone down knocking on your door.
We'll get you in, don't worry.
What are the challenges that you've faced then in your industry? Just you yourself.
I find a lot of unreal expectations. Like, some people will come in with photographs of brows that they don't look like them, and they're like, "Oh, I want them like that." Or, you get faced with a lot of people who they don't look after them. So they're not listening to their aftercare, they're not listening to their pre-care, they're getting skin peels, or they're using loads of retinols or things like that. I find that always makes my job a lot harder to tattoo. So for example, I had a mother and a daughter came for brows. They both got their brows tattooed. The daughter's skin was the hardest skin I think I've ever tattooed, and nothing went to plan. She was bleeding, she was weeping. It was just like, it made me question why I did what I did. The mum, her skin was like porcelain. Her skin just tattooed, everything great. They both healed okay, but it just goes to show that not one brow doesn't fit all, and it's like every client is different. Every skin is different.
Different anatomy.
You're
on
only as
everybody.
good as the skin you work on.
Oh, we get it ourselves in the clinic the whole time. We'll get a photograph of someone that they really like and they want that lip, and it's like your anatomy isn't going to, take to that as well.
Yeah.
But when it comes to our industry, you have to be a little bit wild to do what we do.
Yeah.
And we are lonely because we are in our own box.
Yeah.
However, you have your own challenges directly.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about your own challenges?
So last year I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I find that I was in a, I was on the brink of burnout all the time because I was working so much. I was working like 10, 12-hour days. I was on the brink of burnout. It was just a never-ending cycle of just work. My brain never switched off. I kind of always felt like that. It was always like pressure on me. I would have got to the point where I was forgetting people's appointments. I was double booking myself. I was forgetting to reply to people. People were sending me money for deposits, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot. Like I didn't book that appointment. And I would have went home at night and been like, why am I like this? Like, what is wrong with me? So I seeked out, I went private and got a diagnosis, and now everything obviously makes sense. But that answered a lot of questions. Like I kind of knew, even as a child, like I knew there was always something
a bit different.
There was something a bit different with me.
Did you not find that the creative industry that we're in, there's a lot of us walking around that are undiagnosed in some form,
100%,
on some spectrum.
100%. Like,
that makes us why
everybody
we're as good
has
as what we do.
like traits of ADHD, but like I find that's what makes me so good at some things as well. Like I'm always nearly
hyper focused on
I'm not
work.
ashamed to have it.
Yeah.
I'm not glad to have it. Obviously it's debilitating at times, but I do find that's why when I'm good at something, I'm really good at it. So it makes me really creative and it makes me really driven. And
tell me about this, right? Tell me, did this define you when you were doing your career path? Did you realise that you didn't have anything that was holding you back? Okay, we discovered that you have ADHD, and if anything, it's been a superpower with regards to your creative side.
100%.
But did you find that this, in your creative path, was a stumbling block in any aspect or any form? Like, I personally don't think you do have a stumbling block. I think it's perfect for you. Everything about you just says, right, yeah, that's so you. But like, I've seen your work and it's fantastic. And I've seen all the clients that's going into, I've seen the reviews. You're fantastic. And the fact that it stands to you that you're to win all these awards. Yeah. But I think you're just too humble to talk about all these type of things.
I feel like, I feel like I'm nearly like not, I don't know. It's just your imposter syndrome. It's just,
yeah, I have that as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to stuff. And
you just pick yourself apart and you feel you're not deserving. And like, obviously I always feel like there's obviously artists who have like come into the industry years after me. They're maybe doing really well, but like, you just have to not compare yourself.
Well, how do you not see
everybody
that not
else?
every
Like,
artist isn't a humanitarian?
Yeah.
What you do is, the humanity in that alone is fantastic.
Yeah.
It needs to be applauded. You should be hyper about that. I think that's something that's should be just thrown out there.
Sometimes, I don't know. Sometimes it takes someone to tell you, like, oh yeah, actually.
I'd be sitting with the dog in the house and all of a sudden something pop into my head and I'm like, oh yeah, I did that. It doesn't, you don't realise it until it's actually put in front of you. But when it comes to your career and with the ADHD and the creative side of it and the humanitarian side of it, do you ever just stop for a moment and just say, Jesus, you've overcome a lot, especially in your career?
Yeah.
With the, like, only
I
last year you were
don't really.
diagnosed.
I feel like I don't know, I just tick along, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God,
how did you not
actually,
completely
like,
burn
I've done
out
really
10 years?
I know.
And then all of a
It's
sudden
been
goes,
close.
last year I must have ADHD.
Yeah.
So how did all of a sudden then go, like, you nearly burnt out on something for you to stop eating your pat and go, actually I need to go and get a diagnosis?
Yeah.
Something must have just clicked with you.
It was probably all the double booking and like, sorry to all my clients in advance. But yeah, they know what I'm like. I would rock in like 15 minutes early. A client's been sitting there and I'm like, what are you doing here? And they're like, oh, you booked me in. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So there was things like that. And I would really beat myself up about things like that. Obviously that, like, people revolve their lives around these appointments. Like, like there was things I just knew there was just something
clicking in.
There was something that just I was like, why am I like this?
I'm
Why am
always
I
saying to
forgetting
me, it's
things like
God
this?
testing my patience,
Yeah.
because I walk into work, I come home from work and I'm like, oh God, I'm not even paid enough to do what I do.
Yeah.
But you go into the office and you've like a full diary of clients. So you know everything is allocated. You know
Yeah.
who's coming in, what's coming in. And then someone throws a curveball at you. I
Yeah.
had a woman in there a while ago, and stunning looking woman. I've never seen anything as beautiful as her in my life. I was actually floored by how stunning she was. I tell you, I won't lie. You'd bend in both directions when you seen someone like that walking in the door. You know, she's if Gar heard me, he'd
I
kill
have a
me.
few clients I got
Well,
it.
I swear to God, but there's been moments where I've walked in, right, and it's just most fantastic. But this girl was out the door like supermodel, flawless. And then she had this picture, and it was like, oh, I need 10 mils of filler. And you're like, where do you need
Like,
10 mils of
oh
filler?
no.
And she shows you a photograph of someone, and then you're talking like Chrissy Teigen or somewhere like that, where
Yeah.
they look like a 50 pence piece. The
Yeah.
face is totally
Yeah.
all out of shape
Yeah.
and distorted. And you take someone who has a naturally beautiful, you know, persona as well as it, you know, as features, and all of a sudden then they want to look something monstrous.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden then you're kind of saying to them like,
Yeah.
you know, no, I couldn't possibly, but let's see if we can tweak
Yeah.
something. And then all of a sudden you become not only a counsellor, but you're also an artist in
Yeah.
a different aspect.
Yeah.
For me, it's like non-surgical. Well, how do I fix something? Same with,
Yeah.
you know, domestic violence. How do I rebuild someone's
Yeah.
face without them feeling
Yeah.
like that they're not themselves anymore? Or they bring in an old photograph. But we get these out the door clients, and I'm sure you have them coming in.
We have a lot of
And there's a
them.
moment in your day, you go, oh my Jesus, I
Yeah.
can't. Do you know what I mean? So
There's not. They just want to feel a needle going into their face to
Yeah.
feel like. But that's all. I think that's all
Psychological.
It's all internal.
Okay, we get
And
that
it's
there's
all,
this body dysmorphia out
yeah,
there,
100%.
and we have to be respectful of that. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that suffer with it. There's
Yeah.
a huge amount that I see in the plastic surgery side that
Yeah.
come in through our doors, and they have like, I was only talking to someone there recently where we had a woman who came in who had like breast implants removed like 2 years ago, but was allowed to bring them home, and then went back to the same surgeon and got like the fat in her cheeks took out, but was allowed to bring that home. And then she was like the Jeffrey Dahmer of cosmetic surgery,
my
had walked
God.
into my office. But like for us in our industry, and we've seen
Just
all
a little
sorts
shrine
of
of all of our old,
Jesus,
our
I
old
tell you.
implants.
Imagine somebody looking for a tea bag and opening a press and there's a breast
you got
implant sitting there. Yeah. Coming out of it like all
What's
sorts
this?
of, your old nose is looking at you, looking for like a teaspoon. It's incredible what comes out. But there's moments, I'm sure you have them in your career where you're
Oh,
sitting there
big time,
going,
yeah.
holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The world can't get any weirder.
I know.
And then through all of the sadness and the badness, you did say that, yeah, we are alone. There's
Yeah.
no one else out there that
Yeah.
touches on what
Yeah.
we're like.
There's very few. Like our industry, like the permanent makeup industry anyway, and even the
the
aesthetics industry.
Yeah.
Like, yes, loads of people are treating it, but a lot of people, there's not a lot of people to bounce off, or there's not.
No.
I find there's not many people want to help you either, unless you pay them for
I suppose everyone is,
like to do master classes and stuff. They'll not, you know,
Yeah.
you can write under somebody's photo like, oh, what pigment did you use? They won't even tell you. I'm like,
I've people
I wanna help.
recommend meet people to me in the street.
Yeah.
I went for a nail appointment only a while ago, and all I want to do is put my head down, get my nails done, because for that moment I want to switch off and
You
be
want,
alone.
yeah, it's your appointment to just
And somebody will come
switch
in and
off.
say, "Oh my God, you know," and it's great. Yeah, we follow you on TikTok or social media, or we see something and you're really alive and alert, and it's great that you have that. But that moment you've had a bad day, something's happened in your personal life,
Yeah.
you're doubting yourself, you don't feel good
Yeah.
enough for the world. You could have met somebody who's come in and they're going through the worst part of their life imaginable.
100%. Yeah.
Domestic violence survivors.
Yeah.
Somebody especially, like I had an amazing young woman a couple of years ago commit suicide from the transgender community, and it was all simply because she had gone into a different place where she was living to have aesthetics done,
God.
and the woman who owned the place actually turned down and told her to F out because she wasn't
Oh my God.
she wasn't an
Yeah.
effing surgeon is what she had said. And all it took was just a bit of lip filler and a bit of jawline and chin filler just to make this young woman feel a little bit more human. It
Yeah.
actually isolated her. Well, we have to take that on board when we go home. You have to see somebody who
Yeah.
has cancer and you have to figure out, God, Jesus, like what they're going through compared to what we're having on a daily basis. And then there is moments where you feel burnt out because there's too many people around you
Yeah.
and nobody's listening to
Yeah.
everything that's being said.
Yeah.
They don't see the person that's there.
No.
And then you get the trolling
Yeah.
and it's awful.
I'm quite lucky. A few years ago, I would get the odd comment maybe here and there, but nothing really. Like,
It's horrendous in the industry, isn't
Yeah.
it? But imagine if somebody was watching your work and celebrating
That's-
what you
yeah.
do, and then all of a sudden then
You
somebody
get-
goes in and
yeah.
knocks your confidence by saying, oh, Jesus,
because all the nice things, that one bad thing is the only thing you're going to remember.
madness. But I love all the TikToks that's out for cosmetic surgery. Some of them are like really out there and they're hilarious. But cosmetic tattooing, I have to say some of them are hilarious. Really
Yeah.
funny. I seen one only 2 weeks ago where there was a chap was going with his wife and she's getting a lip blush done. And when she came back out to the car, he had drawn on with marker 2 massive big lines on his face. And then he thought he was absolutely hilarious till she looked and realised it was a permanent Sharpie.
Yeah.
Like TikToks like that are out there, hilarious.
Yeah.
they bring up the fun side of what we do.
I have about 90,000 of them saved, and I'm like, I must remake those.
I do it every night in bed. I'd be an
Yeah.
hour on my TikTok. I look at this, and Gareth be going
some
back
of
to
the
trying to sleep.
workshops,
You know that way.
we are in our salon. Oh my God, we did a social media day one day a couple of weeks ago, and we must have made about 9 of them, and they were all terrible. So none of them got uploaded. But yeah, there's so many funny reels.
And we walk a fine line. Okay, so what we do is quite serious, and what we do then is it's kind of harrowing as well at the same time. And then some people would ask different questions about us, like, you know, what was it like such a person coming in? But do you find that when you have some things that are coming in, is something really hard for you to tackle in work? You know, it's like something coming in that's really awkward with you, or you just feel like, you know, you're out of your depth. And how would you deal with something like that if it came in front of you?
Yeah, I find like I don't know if this is part of ADHD, but within like 2 seconds of meeting someone, I know if I'm going to be comfortable with them or not. Yeah, it's like okay, you're my type of person. But yeah, like at least once a week I'm faced with someone like that has maybe unreal expectations, or yeah, they're kind of you're never going to please them nearly.
No, never. And then you can't block them because they need someone to talk to. And then you feel like you're taking all that on. So apart from the ADHD, if you didn't have the ADHD, what job do you think you would have been working in? Because seemingly something has triggered in you that's causing you to have this fantastic response of creativity.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably go down a similar sort of path. Yeah, because I came from like an arty family, and like my brother's a tattooist.
Really?
Yeah, so
Amazing.
he kind of started out. My mum was always really good at art as well. I was always quite arty in school, quite creative. That was the only thing I really
You took to.
I was good at in school. Maths and English. Well, English was okay.
Chatting and getting detentions, all I was great at.
Yeah. That's why whenever I got my ADHD diagnosis, part of it is that they get you to get your old school reports. So I was like, Mum, do you have all my old school reports? And she brought them around, and I just sat and I was like, oh my God. I was like, how did nobody know? Like, they were all like disruptive, talkative, chatty, didn't do her homework, late to class. So like that, reading back on that, I was like, how did nobody know?
Because I had art
really
school.
creative, like good at art.
I was crap.
Just crap at maths.
I couldn't draw a straight line in school. Never forget it, Joe. But I had a piercing. I had a very small piercing in my nose. I got pierced when I was 13. And obviously I come from a very creative family. So it wasn't a big thing. Like my dad's a hippie. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't a massive thing. As long as I didn't pierce nipples or anything, I was grand, you know, it was just a nose.
Yeah.
But I remember going into art school or into art class on one of my subjects, and I was minding my own business, and I was colouring out one of the pencils, and the art teacher just swept in bad form and saw me sitting there. Only pigs have your nose pierced. I never forget it. Never. So just at that moment I was like, oh sure, we'll see about that. So I got up and walked out of the room, went straight into the headmaster and said, you want to ring my dad, because so help me God, she's not going to have a job by the time I have him here. It's true as God. When he marched into school, now he's had to been away for a couple of weeks, but he marched in and he said, see her talking about my child being a pig and her nose. She doesn't even have a nose to have a piercing in, and she'd be lucky if she's having chocolate somewhere. And it was amazing to see how teachers at a young age would cause somebody to be afraid to go forward into doing something. Yeah. Because imagine if you had somebody who had held you back at something you were good at, and you brought it forward. Now, 100%. I know we're always laughing at her now, that teacher. I've seen her a couple of times. She won't even look at me straight now. Yeah. And I guarantee you, my dad had a stapler that day. She would have had a piercing, you know, that way. But you have to remember, when we are guided by young is what we end up going. So if you were in a family full of creative people with tattooing and stuff like that, it definitely has made you somewhat push yourself into
100%,
your career. It's been more supportive in an environment at home.
I did my beauty course, but it was like a full-time course. You know, one of the ones you do full-time for a year, and then you get your SIBTAC and your Sodesco. So obviously the Sodesco is like it's the highest kind of recognised world,
biggest accreditation.
Yes. So it's the one you want. So it was the big one, but the examiners come from like, I think she came from like
countries
Sweden,
all over the world.
or something, to examine us. And so I was doing my exam, and we all have different models, and the only facial electric machine that I had actually rehearsed was the vacuum suction machine.
Jesus,
right?
I hated that.
Did you remember that?
Yeah.
So
pull the face off. You look like you hickeys.
It was the only one I knew, because I knew all the lymph nodes of the face. Yeah. I knew if this woman comes near me, there's not one question she's going to ask me that I am not going to know the answer to. So I was like straight onto the vacuum suction machine. I was like, that's mine. So got it. Was she comes over and she says, so can you explain to me what you're doing? I was like, so I'm just draining the lymph to the nearest lymph node. She's like, can you name the lymph nodes? And I was like, yeah, this submandibular and the preauricular and all this. And I was like, yeah. And she goes to me, she goes, and what is lymph? I was like,
that's a real simple question, but yeah, throw you for 9.
No idea. I know what it is now, obviously, because I work with it every day. But like, I was like, can you come back to me? I was like, I have no idea what it is.
I went blank.
So not the funny thing, obviously the awful thing at the time was that I actually failed that exam. So my head just wasn't in it. I passed my SIBTAC.
Yeah.
I failed the Sodesco.
My God. I think we've
and
all
my mum had paid like $5,500 for me to do that course.
I trained.
And I had studied all
I trained
year for
over
that.
in the UK for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden then there's courses out there to do it over 3 or 4 days and you're going, how the hell? Because I put myself through so much.
Yeah.
We had to do paperwork and it was all the theory side of it. It was all, and it was
you have all the attributes of a first year nurse.
Yeah.
Like
and
I
then you
could
could blind maim someone, give them a stroke, just a small thing. You could kill them with a needle, so they've no idea, no concept on it. And then you do all these exams and you think, oh my God, it's brilliant. Next minute then, someone down the road just rocked in and doing 12 courses in one day.
Yeah.
And they've all certificates and like, holy hell.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
We're a little bit different because we're very similar, but we're different in the industries that we're in. We actually care about people. So, for example, I'm a huge supporter of LGBTQ. Yeah. I heard you are too.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
So I have a few clients. I work with, one of my best friends is gay. And I have a few clients who are transgender. I feel like when I started my beauty, one of my first clients was actually transgender. So that was kind of the first person I was ever exposed to that was a male and then transitioned to a female. So like that was kind of all new to me. But now it's just, I feel like it's just the norm.
Tell me about, you've had someone in that was male.
Yeah.
First time ever. Never really.
First, I'd never met a transgender client. So I came into the salon that I worked in to get her makeup done, to just feel more womanly and more feminine, was just in for nails, and then made a client out of her, and yeah.
But how did you feel? Because I know when I had the first time someone came into me that was transgender, there was a part of me going, oh my God, I have to do this for them because they can't seem to cope themselves. There's no one else that's going to help them.
Yeah.
So I think that's been the way it's always been within Aesthetica. They've come in and it's different backgrounds. They'll come in with a family member. But I remember the very first time they stood in front of me and it was kind of like the floor had swallowed me whole.
That's how
I was like, how am I going to? This is something I'm not trained to do. I was trained to do it, but it's not something you're aware that you're going to come into your path. Yeah. And when I went back to the tutors and the teachers and all, they couldn't tell me, how to deal with something like this. So you just have to pull up your trousers and off you went with it. So I have to say, the crack I had doing some of the transgender community has been amazing.
100%.
They have opened my eyes to things that I never thought was actually possible. Yeah. It was insane. Now, we're a little bit out there, obviously, with Aesthetica. We see some really unusual body modifications. In your case, you would see kind of, as I said, the surface type ones. My God. So, and you were able to handle all that really, really well with it all. And you're having great crack with it.
Yeah. Unreal.
I know that look. I have ethnic moments as well. I'm like, oh Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I had an amazing chap that came into me he was bored. And he said he was considering, he was a cross-dresser and he was considering actually whether or not he wanted to be, he wanted to transgender. Yeah. And I remember sitting with him for an hour and a half and it turned out anyway, he didn't actually transition at all in any way, shape or form. And he wasn't gay or there was no inkling in him. He just liked to dress in women's clothes. So he wanted to take it one step further. Yeah. And oh my God, I think I sat there for an hour and a half going, what am I doing with myself? Couldn't believe it. Whereas it was somebody who genuinely came in and
you find people like that so interesting, you're just like, oh my God,
and you don't want
more.
them to stop. I was in Soho a while and we were having a couple of months back with Damien and Liz and we met a couple of people that was in there. One wasn't transgender. I think they was cross-dresser and he worked for the state over there. He had a government home office job and now he had his ma's dress on him and a grey wig and the whole lot. And when I had asked the question, are you transgender? Because you need to be very subtle about these. You need to ask what way they're thinking. Yeah. Jesus, he floored me with his, no, I like actually dressing up in just women's clothes. It's just how I make, that's fine. That's 100% fine. But why would aesthetics, I think maybe I should start edging into it. And that's where you're in a dangerous situation where do you seriously have this conversation with them and move it forward or do you kind of gauge exactly, because we don't have a qualification for psychology. We don't, we don't help anyone else psychiatrically wise. So where is too much too much that you have to protect yourself in our industry. But then there's moments where you turn around going, holy fuck, I can't actually deal with this today. It's so funny.
When you say her, when you refer to her as her, obviously,
the pronouns,
it nearly makes her like, oh my God, like
it's great.
Like people know me as a her,
I'm glad to hear that when people
say
that to you.
It's nearly warming, so I'll be like, talking about her and like, yeah, you just nearly feel her being like, oh.
I like it because when you say something like that, their pronouns are so important to them, and so they should be.
100%. Like it means everything.
But you're not vilifying them for being anything else. Because you're acknowledging the fact that you understand it and you support it as well. But have you had worse clients? Tell me your worst ever client. I want you to be brutally honest in this. I'll tell you mine. Go for it.
Oh God. Oh, I've had a few.
Well, I can win. Right. I'll win this one. I had a woman who she had an affair with a footballer over in the Premier League.
All right.
She flew into Dublin and had requested for me to go and see her. She wants to have BBL filler done. She had a lovely shaped body. She had quite a big BBL. She had sued before I had done the consultation. She had told me in her hotel room. Now, she was coming to see me in the clinic but needed her consultation wherever she was. She had showed me her photographs. And obviously, she's cheeks either side. Mm-hmm. She wanted in between the cheeks completely filled with filler. So it was a complete bubble area. And not only that, in the middle of consultation, before she was due to see me the next day, she had told me that, and it stung with me, she had sued the plastic surgeon that gave her the original bum implants. God. And she wanted me to go in and correct a whole lot of it.
Oh my God.
I tell you, she was messaging me and I couldn't have the tartar.
She's a red flag. Like,
oh my God.
When somebody comes into you like giving off about somebody else, you're like,
total red flag.
You're gonna give off about me as soon as I leave.
Go back in.
There's people you can just never, you'll never please, and they're just that's unreal expectations too.
Oh my God. So what is your worst case?
Oh God.
Go on, be honest. I know you have one in there. There's no way we're in this industry and you walked off screaming that it was a great day. You know what I mean?
Skipping out of work every day.
I've had a fantastic, wonderful life. Yeah, it's not all Alice in Wonderland.
I am quite lucky. I don't really get awkward clients. Like, I swear on my life.
Do you want to swap with me?
The amount of, obviously I get clients who maybe like they want their brows darker or like things like that. Like it maybe fades too much or something like that. But like I am quite lucky where I don't really get awkward clients. I don't get rude clients. Like, yeah, like I'm really lucky. Like 99.9% of my clients are unbelievable, and I'm like, I see them, they come back, I see them all the time. Like,
do you want to swap industries? I wouldn't mind saying I'd love something like that.
I know the girl I work with, she would have the odd awkward one. I think aesthetics is a bit more.
It is. It's very well.
It's a bit more kind of.
It's actually a lot more deeper because you're going into someone's anatomy.
Yeah,
you know that way. So you totally understand.
With mine as well, obviously you're tattooing somebody's face, like, but I'm always really straight. I'm always really kind of.
I need to change industries.
This isn't going to work. You're coming in, you're wanting hair strokes, you've an oily skin, you've got a block tattoo already. The hair strokes, they're not going to work. They're not going to heal right. They're not going to age well.
I'm cringing. There's so going in for my own eyebrows with you now at this stage. I am.
We're lasering them off.
Yeah, bring them back down. From here. My worst client was Michelle Furey. Let's put it onto a phone. No,
I'll just block your number after and be like, bye.
I will. That's it. I'd be crying going in to get them all lasered off. But I have moments where in our industry we have to have a laugh and a joke about things. And after being in business for so long, you find that there's nothing more that you can reach. Like, you've won awards. Yeah. But is there something that holds for you in the future? Have you aspirations?
I kind of always love to help people. Obviously, I want to teach. I want to teach permanent makeup.
What's stopping you?
I'm such a procrastinator. I tried to do a teaching course over lockdown, and I opened the laptop every day with a coffee and went, nope, not today.
Maybe you're a visual learner as opposed to that's.
I would be, yeah. So I think I need to actually physically go. Like online, nothing goes in.
No, you need to be physically there.
I need to be physically there in person,
and practical level.
And then so I think, it's definitely on the cards. I get asked all the time, other artists, do you do masterclasses? Do you do this? Do you do that? I would work on I do a lot of artists' permanent makeup. You know, they do it themselves and they're unreal, and they come to me for their
that says a lot about you, though. Doesn't that say a lot about you? I know, imposter syndrome again.
Yes, I'm just like, really?
So you want to teach? Well, so the only thing that's holding you back is that, like, you're just unsure.
Oh, I just feel like, not that the industry, it's so not saturated. Obviously, like hairdressing, there's enough. Everyone's always going to need a haircut. Everyone's always going to need their eyebrows done. Okay. But like in Belfast, I think there's so many people training in it. I almost think like, oh, they've got it covered. You know, they've kind of
But not all of them are humanitarians. Not all of them have won
Yeah.
awards, Kirsten. Not all of them have your personality and a bit of crack. And not all of them have ADHD where they can make creativity come
Yeah,
alive.
yeah,
So maybe it's something you should be thinking about next
yeah.
time.
Definitely is. It's on the cards.
Oh, well, Kirsten,
Definitely, I'd want to do more master classes, more trainings, more kind of and definitely the training. I'd love to teach people.
I'm actually glad to hear it. So, like, there's not enough people out there that's doing it the right way.
Yeah.
You sound like you're doing it perfectly,
Yeah.
especially what you're doing with the humans. The humans? The humanity side of it. You gotta cut that one. With the humanity side of it. I'm
Yeah.
actually I'm stunned in my head. Seriously, we need more people that are actually totally out there,
Yeah.
outside the box, to be throwing themselves out and fix things
Yeah.
that need to be other people won't touch.
No, I
You
know.
know that way.
Yeah.
So, and then all the other people that are left behind.
Yeah.
Take them out of the shadows and do
Yeah.
something that's good for
And
them.
there's so many people that they'll just, oh no, you're
They get forgotten about.
yeah, yeah.
Then train. Get
Yeah.
out there and start training
Yeah.
people. Become a teacher. Kirsten, I go to your classes just for the crack alone. I will go just for it'd just be so
I
interesting.
love it.
You
$5 please.
what about the girl that's
That-
sitting in our class that thinks
Yeah.
she's crap at doing something like that, but Jesus, years later
Yeah.
she's amazing at it. Like, so I think you should actually go out and do that.
That's another thing as well. Like the permanent makeup courses. When I was looking at training in it, no one really did it. The courses were like 11, 12 grand.
Yeah.
Which like who has that kind of money just sitting about to spend on a course? The course that I actually did was like 5.5 grand, which was still a lot of money. So I think there's better courses for a bit less. And you need to do your research
And that's what they should look out for.
yeah.
With regards to what they need to watch out for red flags when going to
Yeah.
training academies, what would the advice be given to a young cosmetic tattooist?
So, if you're doing a masterclass with someone, don't go to them because they have loads of followers.
Yeah.
That doesn't make them a really, really good artist. Look at their reviews, look at, before and after pictures, non-edited. Just because they have loads of followers, it doesn't mean they're really good art. It means they're good at marketing. There's a lot. I feel
So
like,
you could say, I know, but that's allowed. I say that as well. But listen, Kirsten, I've actually held you here for too long at this stage, and I've
Have
learned
you?
loads about you. So what I'm going to do is we're going to let you go. So, Kirsten, I want to ask you one last question. The imperfect beauty. What does that mean to you?
So imperfect beauty, I would feel it's kind of more like how you feel on the inside. Like it's like kind of keep your expectations real and like
I love
yeah,
it.
I don't know.
No, it makes sense. I say this to everyone as well. The imperfect beauty to me is the same thing as what you say. Not everything has to be like
Yeah.
society beautiful. The
Like it's
imperfect
what you kind of
find the beauty in
portray as
perfection.
perfect.
Yeah,
It's what
beauty
you
and
portray as
perfection.
perfect. Like what is perfect to one person is not perfect to the next.
And it's
And
beautiful to everyone else.
Yeah,
Well, there
exactly.
you go. Kirsten, thanks for coming in and
oh,
talking
thank
to
you
me.
so much.
I'm going to have a great laugh with you shortly
I've
outside.
loved it. No.
Camera turn off now. We'll go and hide. That's brilliant. Kirsten, thanks so much.
Ah.
And that's a wrap on this episode of The Imperfect Beauty. And a huge thank you to my guest, Kirsten Lyons, for such an open and honest chat. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do me a favour. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a review. It helps so much more than you know and means I can keep bringing you more real conversations just like this one. You can follow us on our socials for updates, behind the scenes, and upcoming guests. Thank you for joining me. And remember, imperfect is beautiful. Until next time, take care.